It has been an incredible journey, ladies and gentlemen, for the last 2 years, culminating in what was result day number 1. On counting day 2024, June the 4th, CNN News 18, your channel, was the number 1 English news channel in the country. We had 41% of the entire English news universe tuning into this channel. The nearest competitor was almost at half. Thank you very much to all our viewers here on CNN News 18 for joining us as you have these past 2 years, and particularly on counting day, which was a momentous news day by all standards. But first, let's now look at what's been happening. The big story that we are tracking tonight. The NEET exam has run into a quagmire after about 1,500 students were given grace marks. They've now been asked by the Supreme Court to take a retest. This will have to be done on the 23rd of this month. The NEET counselling for everyone else will continue as usual, but those students who are not part of this 1,536 are protesting. They're saying that they're getting the short end of the stick. Their contention is that the entire system is corrupt and that they are being penalised for being honest. So how can the government fix this mess that has come to pass in various competitive exams, not just NEET? We've seen different competitive exams having paper leaks, etc. And now this whole business of grace marks. How can this whole issue of competitive exams and the colossal incompetence that we're seeing there, how can it be fixed?
जो बच्चे 6-7 घंटे या 10 घंटे पढ़ के मेहनत करी, उनकी रैंक इतना नीचे आ गई.
I request investigation.
பொதுவாகவே நீட் தேர்வுகள் ரத்து செய்யப்பட வேண்டும் என்பதுதான் திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தின் கொள்கையாக இருக்கு.
बच्चों ने जो नीट की जो परीक्षा दी है, उनके भविष्य के साथ जो खिलवाड़ आज इस परीक्षा के द्वारा हुआ है, उस पर एक जांच होनी चाहिए, सीबीआई की जांच होनी चाहिए.
सेंटर में गलती से गलत सेट्स ऑफ क्वेश्चन आ गए, उसमें कुछ टाइम लॉस हुई. एक एवरेज मार्किंग, ग्रेस मार्किंग की मेथड पे उनको कंपनसेट किया जा सकता है.
Right, so are arbitrary rules hurting students? Let's explain this to you. What is the centre's contention? What is their stand in the Supreme Court? And what is it that the students are alleging? The centre says that retest for about 1,560 odd students who got these grace marks, that will be cancelled, and the retest option is going to be given for these 1,563 students because they had a loss of time. Remember, about 40 minutes was wasted for these students. Therefore, to make up for that, they gave grace marks. That became a huge controversy, and now they're giving them a complete retest option. The retest is, of course, likely to be held on the 23rd of June. The result will have to be declared by the 30th of June so that these students are also eligible for the counselling session. Now, those who skip this retest out of this 1,560 odd, without the grace marks, their score minus the grace marks will be considered. The retest will have to be finished, but it will not affect the counselling process, which is scheduled from the 6th of July. But now, this was the contention and the case that was presented by the centre before the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has agreed to it. But there are some unanswered questions. Number one, the NTA's stand is that the Supreme Court-backed mechanism was used to grant grace marks because of the time delay. Now, the question is, if the procedure was followed, then why have the given grace marks to these 1,500 students been scrapped by the NTA in the first place? Also, the big question, why did the NTA not reveal, along with the results, that these 1,500 odd students had got the grace marks? That came to light much later. The NTA's stand was that the increase in the number of candidates is what led to the increase in the high scores. The question though is, and that beckons to be asked, how did 6 toppers, 6 of them who got all full marks, come from the same center in Jhajjar in Haryana? There's also a question, how can the NTA be sure that mismanagement did not extend beyond these 6 centers that we talked about? The NTA stand is also that no paper leak had happened. There is no evidence to back this whole contention by the students that the entire paper had leaked. The question though is, what explains the FIRs that have been launched in Bihar by the Bihar police, which again is an NDA government, in Rajasthan by the BJP government there? So the question that needs to be asked is, clearly it's not all adding up, and the students, as you would imagine, are an agitated lot because they see a different set of rules for them and a different set of rules for these 1,500 odd students. But we have to find a solution. The government has to find a solution. They've presented a case before the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has agreed to it. Now there will be a retest on the 23rd. Let's put this up to our panelists. We're also going to open our phone lines. Let's see. Let's get the callers out here and see, what people have to say. If you are a NEET aspirant, a NEET student, or if you're the parent of a NEET aspirant or a NEET student, please call us. We'll flash the numbers on our screen. And we want to hear from you as to what really led to this entire botch up. Was it the NTA which botched up, or was it that the students were being hyper? Let me introduce our guest. Nitin Vijay is the founder and CEO of Motion Education. Dr. Shama Mohammed is national spokesperson of the Congress Party. Savio Rodriguez is a political analyst. Deshratan Nigam, also a political analyst. Devansh Raj Srivastav is a student who appeared for the NEET exam. But let me start, first of all, with Nitin Vijay. Nitin, the contention by the students is this is an unfair playing field. This is an uneven playing field. You have 1,500 kids who've been given this option of a retest. The others have been left to fend for themselves. Is that a fair argument? Because there is a necessary reason for why these 1,500 have been given a retest, and that's because they lost 40 minutes in the first exam.
Sir, there were 3 main issues. The only one issue is addressed by the NTA and the Supreme Court. The first issue is that there was no policy of grace marks which was mentioned in the bulletin, but they have given the grace marks to 1,563 students. Today, Supreme Court told that, okay, we'll discard these 1,563 students and they have to give the examination again. The problem is that these 1,563 students are those who have filed a complaint in High Court. Those who have not filed any complaint but they are the victims, what will happen to them? That is the first question which I really want to ask. Second, the inflation of ranks. Let me put the numbers in front of you. Above 600, the category from general EWS and OBC students get the normal medical colleges, which is not too much donation is required into it. So on 600 marks, the rank was 29,348 in 2023. But this year the rank is 81,179. There is a jump of 51,000 students. The paper level was similar. I am teaching for last 20 years. The paper level was similar. The justification about it is that the number of aspirants has been increased.
Yeah. So you don't buy that. The NTA says
lakhs.
23 or 24 lakh students have appeared this time. Therefore, obviously, once the pie becomes bigger, the number of people scoring higher marks will also become bigger. You don't buy that.
But the increase is only 15 to 17%. Let me put you into that way, okay. Right? But the numbers of, is it possible that 300% IQ has been increased this year born students? This is not possible. This is not practically feasible. And let me put into that way that there are 3 major points which tells us the story that there is a cheating or a leakage of paper. First is the Patna FIR. One student mentioned into it that there is a leakage of paper. One night before he got the paper, the mafia gang told them to mug up the paper, and the next day, on the day of the paper, they got the same questions. Second, the FIR in Gujarat, and the third is the data tells the entire story that the number of aspirants above 600 is increased by 51,000 number, which is really huge. It is not possible in a normal case, but the NTA is not ready to accept it. And the second and the third, three major points which is changed this year is that in their bulletin, it is not mentioned that in a tie break situation there is a rule which they have mentioned after this 5th of June or 4th of June, that if suppose the number of applicants is there is a tie break in the question paper, then the number of applicants, those who applied earlier, will get the higher rank. The number of ranks in top 100 from 62 to 68, their roll number is similar, their ranking is similar, their center is similar. Why they are not giving, they are not sharing that data? Why NTA is not sharing the data center-wise ranks?
Let
so
me
these
ask
are the questions which is raising the question mark with the
Rodriguez.
NTA policies
Savio,
this year.
the problem is this. First of all, this whole business of grace marks, the NTA did not reveal when the NEET results came. I don't know whether they deliberately hid that fact, but ultimately it was the students who discovered that, and the NTA had to do damage control. Number two, when this whole thing got revealed that there were these 1,500 odd students who got grace marks, for whatever reason the timing was delayed, so on and so forth, the NTA said they are now scrapping the grace marks. Then the whole case went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, okay, scrap the grace marks, but give them a retest. So, on the one hand, the NTA says, oh, we're giving them grace marks. This was the rationale, that we're giving them grace marks because there was this time delay. And then when it gets outed, then the NTA says we're scrapping the grace marks. So, clearly, that's covering your tracks.
No, Zaka, the entire issue with the NEET examination at this point of time is really a conundrum. And therefore, because it is a conundrum, it needs to be investigated from all angles, because what you have are a large amount of hardworking students who have spent their months and hours in studying for what is one of the most prestigious exams in this country to be and represent India in the medical profession. So if there is any malpractice that has taken place, even if there is 1% of a doubt in that malpractice, I think it is important for the government and the institutions behind the NEET to conduct a thorough investigation, especially on the allegations of paper leaks for which an FIR has been filed.
Okay.
Now, why is that important? Because there is absolutely no mechanism that exists at this point of time for the students to complain. Right now, the center has said 1,563 students had got the grace marks. But what about the students that really had problems that also want to complain or put forth the angst that they have? There is no mechanism for that. It is those kids who are going to court that are able to get the grace that they want or the kind of justice that they want. I think that the government in its wisdom must relook at what has happened, because what it does is questions the entire process, the entire procedure, and the entire integrity of what NEET stands for. And that cannot be compromised in any format.
Okay. No, Shama Mohammed is a doctor. Dr. Shama Mohammed, I'm sure when you were, applying for these exams, there was a competitive exam for all medical entrance tests. It was called the All India Medical Entrance Test. Then you had the AIMS, PGMIER. Then for institutes like CMC Vellore, JIPMER, etc., you had separate exams. Even today for IIT JEEs, you have the IIT JEE exams. So the idea, the rationale, or the principle that you should have a test, that's very much taken, because even in the United States, you have the SATs to get into college, and then from there you have to do, for the PGs, you have GRE for engineering and technical branches, and then you have GMAT for the management sciences. So no one is arguing with the principle. The issue is, yes, there are technical problems, there are man-made problems, there are botched up problems in the conduct of the NEET, but to say that NEET itself should be scrapped, which your party and some of your allies are saying, how does that make sense? What then replaces NEET? The idea is you should have one centralized test.
Okay, Zaka, first and foremost, I want to talk about the National Testing Agency. I think that has to be scrapped, first and foremost. Now, the system of giving grace marks, I have written entrance exams. You've got 3 hours and we had MCQs at that point of time. We need to finish those MCQs on time. Now, I fail to understand how they were, like Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan was saying, I just heard him say that, there were certain centers which had wrong questions. You can't have wrong questions. Now, suppose if you had wrong questions, then you have to scrap the exam. Because how can you, on what basis are you giving grace marks? You're giving grace marks to a person who is not also up to the mark. You might be great in that 1,500 odd students who you gave grace marks, maybe 500 or 600 would not be even eligible for those grace marks. Point number one. Point number two, what really amazed me is the 67 students who got 720 marks. That is full. NEET started in 2016. 2016 to 19, 0 of them got 720. 2020, 2 students got 720. 21, 3. 2022, 0. 2023, 2. And 2024, suddenly 67. So that itself is impossible, and 6 from a center in Haryana. So definitely this shows that there has been rigging and cheating out here. It's very clear. So what we need to do right now, and also the Supreme Court judgment which came out said, right to equality, Article 14 has been violated because some of them got special preference by giving grace marks. So according to me, if I was there at this point of time, I would scrap the whole examination first. There should be a CBI probe into how this rigging has happened. And those who rig exams, we have seen it in multiple states, UP, Madhya Pradesh, many other states, you have to put them behind bars. The Congress manifesto this time said we will take strict action. And I believe there should be a re-examination.
Okay.
Zaka,
the Supreme Court was presented this case about a re-examination for everyone, and the court rejected it, saying that you're bringing unnecessary.
There should be a probe.
This is the Supreme Court's view on this. This is not my view, Shama Mohammed. So please, this is what the Supreme Court has said today. This whole case was presented to the court that there should be an entire re-exam, and the court rejected it. Instead, the court said these 1563, please have a retest for these 1563. This is the view of the court. This is not my view. So please don't get angry with me.
No, I'm not getting angry with you. What I'm trying to say is court goes based on evidence, whatever is given.
Yes.
If there's CBI probe and the evidence comes out that there's been rigging, the court will say definitely there should be a re-exam.
Okay.
That's why we are saying there should be an investigation.
Let me bring in some of our callers now. We're getting some more callers. You can ask your question either on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. Also, you can call us on the number that's flashing on your screen. Gokul Agarwal is our first caller. He's calling us from Dibrugarh in Assam. Mr. Agarwal, good evening. Do you have a question for our panelists? Do you have some thoughts on this whole NEET fiasco? And finally, now the Supreme Court saying that these 1,500 students can take a retest?
Yeah, hi Jaka. I am a father of a NEET aspirant. My son will be appearing for NEET next year. So what this has done to lakhs of students who would be appearing next year, I mean, it has completely shattered their confidence, and they don't know whether their efforts will, really get them the right results. To Shama Mohammed stating that scrap of the NEET is like telling those 23, 24 lakhs of students to throw down the drain their efforts of, last 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And they have sacrificed a lot. Being a father, I understand.
The examination.
You said
I said
scrap
to have a re-examination. I did not say
Okay,
scrap
let him make his point, ma'am. Let him make his point, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Re-examination would be a Herculean task and practically not possible. This is a very tricky situation and a very complicated one. Even God cannot come down and sort it out. What my suggestion is, we should have another 2 exams and get an average out of it so that it is fair to all.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gokul. Let me now go to another caller. Mr. Krishnamurthy is calling us from Ooty. I guess it's a beautiful place to be at this time of the year. Mr. Krishnamurthy, good evening. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening.
I think we lost that line. Okay. Oh dear. We'll try and fix that line with Mr. Krishnamurthy back again. Deshratan Nigam is joining us. Deshratan Nigam, the issue is, there are these 6 centers where people have got 720. There are 60 odd of them who have got 720. It's never happened in the history of NEET in the last 5 years. The NTA says there's no question of a paper leak, but there are multiple people who've come out and said that there is evidence to show that the paper was leaked the night before. There are FIRs now, not in opposition ruled states. They are in Bihar and they are in Rajasthan. These are BJP ruled states. Now, my point is, how can the NTA sort of fly in the face of all of this that is coming, which seems to be contradicting everything that they're saying?
Zaka, in fact, I think paper leak in the last 7 years, I was going through the reports. There were about 70 paper leaks. You name a state and there is a paper leak, right? From Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, Rajasthan, UP, Bihar. And that's what we have seen. It's becoming a pattern, which is a very serious issue. It creates a doubt in the minds of the students or the aspirants so far as the fairness and integrity of the examination process is concerned. That's a very serious issue because that should not happen. And what we need to be focusing today, because as one of the callers said, it's a very complex issue to, cancel the entire exam may not be, very feasible, but the Supreme Court probably has left the question open. Maybe at this stage they have not cancelled, but the hearing is going to come subsequently now, and there is no final authority or the pronouncement on the, the exam. They have not stopped the counseling. They are allowing it to go on because that would disrupt the process. If tomorrow it is found there was no paper leak, then the entire process, if they cancel it now, will not lead anywhere. So this is, so far as the grace marks are concerned, I can agree that they have, removed the grace marks and given them a chance. And if there are other such similar cases, as somebody was pointing out, those people should also be, there should have been a notice, 2 or 3 days notice given by various means through electronic, print media, or otherwise. So those who have got the, grace marks similarly, and they may also come forward. Now the issue is how to improve the system.
Yeah.
That is the solution. I mean, we can discuss that you can cancel this exam. Government of India made one very important law, which is the Public Examination Prevention of Unfair Means Act 2024, which is very recent act. So probably it is not yet percolated down. It will go down slowly, and there is 3 to 10 years of punishment here. One. Secondly, every agency which does it, probably they outsource printing to some other printing press outside.
Okay.
That needs to be prevented. They must have their own printing agency, one. Secondly, other way could be that you have a soft copy being sent to the centers directly 1 hour before the examination, and they must print it there through. We have a lot of printers. It might be slightly expensive, but this will prevent the paper leakage.
Okay.
So these
Devansh is also joining us. He's a student who appeared for the NEET. Devansh, ये बताइए कि आज उच्चतम न्यायालय का ये निर्णय भी आ गया. The decision by the Supreme Court is ये जो 1500 लोग हैं, स्टूडेंट्स जो हैं, जिनको ग्रेस मार्क्स दिया गया था, they have to take a retest. क्या आप संतुष्ट हैं आज के न्यायालय के डिसीजन से?
सर बिल्कुल सर, जो आज हमारे ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो एक ये जजमेंट पास किया है, इट इज जस्टिफाइड, बट सर आई थिंक सो these were not only the 1563 students, because sir 1563 students के ही कारण, सिर्फ इतने से स्टूडेंट्स के कारण इतना ज्यादा रैंक इन्फ्लेशन नहीं आ सकता था. तो पहली बात तो ये सर एनटीए ने शायद नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट ढंग से क्लैरिफाई अभी भी नहीं किया है, और उन्होंने कोई ऐसी ऑफिशियल लिस्ट भी जारी नहीं करी जिससे पब्लिकली ये चीज अनाउंस हो सके कि इतने नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट थे.
उनका मानना है कि 23 या 24 लाख स्टूडेंट्स ने इस बार ये परीक्षा दिया है.
सर बिल्कुल 23 से 24 लाख स्टूडेंट्स ने परीक्षा दी है सर. हर साल कम से कम 2 से 3 लाख एप्लीकेंट्स बढ़ते ही बढ़ते हैं, बट सर इतना ज्यादा रैंक इन्फ्लेशन आना कभी पॉसिबल नहीं हुआ. एंड ऑल्सो मैं ये चीज भी जानता हूँ, एनटीए ने प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में अपनी ये कहा था, ड्यू टू द कॉम्पिटिटिव नेचर ऑफ दिस एग्जाम द रैंक इन्फ्लेटेड दिस मच. बट सर एवरी टाइम देयर इज अ कॉम्पिटिटिव नेचर इन दिस एग्जाम. हर एग्जाम में कुछ ना कुछ कॉम्पिटिटिव नेचर होता ही होता है, और हर साल कुछ ना कुछ एप्लीकेंट्स बढ़ती हैं, बट सर कभी भी इतना ज्यादा रैंक इन्फ्लेशन आने को देखने को नहीं मिला.
तो आप क्या मानते हैं, मतलब ये रैंक इन्फ्लेशन जो आप कह रहे हैं, ये किस चीज की वजह से आई है ये रैंक इन्फ्लेशन?
सर पहली बात तो ये चीज मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि जैसे जिन सेंटर्स पर भी इरेगुलरिटीज फाउंड हुई हैं, या हो सकता है मे बी एंटी उन चीजों को एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर रहा है, सर उन सेंटर्स की पहले तो एक ऑफिशियल वापस से रीचेकिंग होनी बहुत जरूरी है. दूसरी चीज ये सर कि मैं ये चीज जानता हूँ सर, मतलब मुझे ऐसा लगता है, मुझे भी अलग अलग मीडिया से एंड अलग अलग सोर्सेस से पता था कि कहीं ना कहीं पेपर लीक की भी खबर आई है, चीटिंग हुई है सर।
लेकिन एनटीए तो मानता है कि ऐसा कुछ हुआ ही नहीं है, कोई पेपर लीक हुआ ही नहीं है, ये उनका मानना है।
Exactly, sir. They are not accepting it, na sir. Exactly, they are not accepting that the paper has been leaked. But there were some sources. सर पटना में FIR फाइल हुई थी, एक हॉस्टल में, वहाँ की छत पर सर पेपर जला हुआ मिला था। तो सर ये कोई एक इत्तेफाक तो हो नहीं सकता कि स्टूडेंट का पेपर खराब हुआ तो उसने गुस्से में आके जला दिया हो, ऐसा तो हो नहीं सकता सर।
ओके,
तो ये कुछ ना कुछ तो सर संकेत पैदा करते हैं ना सर पेपर लीक के बारे में भी, उसको एनटीए डिनाई कर रहा है। एंड सर हाँ ठीक है, एनटीए ने एक ये चीज एक्सेप्ट करी, आज हमारे ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इस चीज का फैसला सुनाया कि जितने नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट को आपने ग्रेस मार्क्स दिए थे उनका या तो रीटेस्ट होना चाहिए या फिर उनके ग्रेस मार्क्स को हटाकर उनका एक नॉर्मलाइज रिजल्ट आना चाहिए।
ओके,
बिल्कुल सर, ये एक हमारे पक्ष में फैसला।
Okay, Devansh, मैं वापस आता हूँ आपके पास. We got two more callers before we go back to the guests. Jaya is calling us from Mumbai. Good evening, Jaya. Your thoughts on this whole NEET controversy?
Oh yes, it's very. I'm speaking because I purely empathize with the parents and the students of NEET who have taken NEET. It is very traumatic for all the students and parents. How distraught the parents are. The preparation of their child goes on for years. They burn the midnight oil for a brilliant career in medicine. There is also passion involved in taking this profession.
Yeah.
A uniform yardstick is a postulate. By giving grace marks, you have accepted some fault. And we have learned from the media that there have been unfair practices. In some places, the wrong paper was given and it was corrected later. And so what about this loss of time making up by giving grace marks? And a paper leak, which is testified to by the FIR lodged in Patna. And so re-exam is the only solution because you need a uniform yardstick. Those who have taken it earlier, see, there could be good students who have got 4 marks. Whatever it is, now you need another exam which has to be a common yardstick, not some taking now and later. And because this is related to the medical profession and the future of the country.
Okay, Jaya, thank you very much for your call. Let me also go across to Mr. Manjunath. He's calling us from Bengaluru. Mr. Manjunath, yes, good evening.
Yeah, hi Jaga, good evening. See, basically this entire NEET, I'm looking at 3 to 4 years of after implementing the NEET in India. This is simply putting anybody into the trouble. Actually, this is complete system is built on the corruption. Okay, to make money by the private medical colleges across India. If you put the students into the higher ranks, okay, all India higher ranks, obviously they will opt for the private colleges and they go for the management quota. Okay, this is the idea of this NTA. I really feel sorry for the complete, system. They built, only to make richer students into richer. All the, private colleges into richer. Okay. Nobody bothered about what are the, consequences about the parents and, all the students across India they're facing.
All right. Mr. Manjunath, thank you very much for your call. Let me ask Nitin Vijay this. So what is the solution? Like, we're seeing these, as many students are saying, paper leaks, not just at the NEET, but other competitive exams. One of the suggestions was the question paper needs to be sent as a soft copy to all the centers just 1 hour before. Is that feasible? In this day and age, when we're talking about digital India, why can't we have an online exam? Then there's no scare of paper leak and so on. Is any of this actually feasible? Is any of this actually a realistic solution to the problem?
Sir, the long-term solution is that the entire paper should be conducted on the computer-based test. That is the solution. That is how we are conducting the JEE Main and the JEE Advanced. So the chances of cheating in the case of printing and all that will be reduced. But the solution to the current problem is that first NTA can identify the wrong centers or we can say where there is a misdoing centers. They can identify those centers, and again on those centers there should be a conduction of re-NEET. That is what we demand.
No, but they are saying only this 1536 was
identify the centers.
They are not saying there were multiple centers where this happened. They are just saying only this 1563 were dodgy. Everything else, according to NTA, was fine.
No, 1500. Sir, 1563 students are those who are claiming the time loss.
Yeah, time loss.
So time loss is a different problem. cheating is a different problem. Time loss problem, or out of 1563, it is not possible to inflate so much of ranks into it. So out of 51,000 numbers has been increased in above 600 marks, right? So it is not possible because of time loss. So time loss is a different problem. Cheating and leakage is a different problem. If we have a proof in Patna FIR, why we are not considering this? So my solution to is that we should identify, NTA should identify the wrongdoing centers and again reconduct the NEET over there.
Okay.
If it is not possible for NTA to basically identify those centers, then the re-NEET for the entire students is the only solution.
Well, whether
for us.
they can do that for 20 odd lakh students,
case,
that's a big question. But Savio, I mean, if we can have IIT JEE exams, both the prelims and the mains, and if we can conduct UPSC without any of this paper leak business, why can't we conduct NEET on an online basis?
You know, that's exactly what I'm talking about, Zaka. The need for us to do is to investigate where did the procedure and the processes go wrong. Just as the Patna FIR is revealing to you that there has been a paper leak. So even if you've got 1% doubt on a competitive exam, that is of such a valuable nature, then it is the impetus of the government to investigate. More importantly, other than the 1,563 students, there would be many more that would have also faced a certain amount of complaints, but there is no mechanism for that complaint to reach the NTA or the center to give them the grace or the means forward. So I think, that we should not scrap the NEET. What we need to understand first is what has gone wrong. Was it the process? Was it the procedure? Or was it corruption within certain centers in that are actually executing the NEET program?
Dr. Shama Mohammed, surely, I mean, to have a retest for 23, 24 lakh students is impractical. It's not a solution. So tomorrow, anybody can come out and say, oh, there was paper leak here, or there were toppers in this center, and so on and so forth, and therefore you should have a retest for all 20 odd lakh students. The idea is to find the solution. I think ultimately it has to move towards an online examination, just like we have for the SATs or the GRE, or in this case, the IIT JEE. Ultimately, all NEET exams have to be taken in an online fashion. That's when you can cut down on these chances of paper leak, etc., etc.
Saka, it's the same problem in India. Everything. It's called something called accountability. There is no accountability in India, whether it's corruption or anything. Why is there no stringent punishment? Look at America now. Even a Trump for felony is getting convicted. All right, president. You have Biden's son now, again found guilty. In India, who has gone behind bars for Vyapa? Nobody. Who has gone behind bars for any of these paper leaks in UP, even Rajasthan, or for that matter, Madhya Pradesh, anywhere? Nobody. So people know that they can get away. Tomorrow, if it's an online, they'll cheat because they can get away. Stringent punishment behind bars, then nobody will do it. Where are we doing that? Do we punish anybody? What has been the accountability after 2014? Even the government of India is not accountable for anything. Nobody is accountable. Unless and until we fix accountability, there is no going ahead. That is the most important. Stringent punishment behind bars, even if it's life imprisonment, because this cheating has affected 24 lakh students. Let's understand that, what has happened. I mean, I can imagine somebody, I've worked hard doing medicine, studying medicine, even giving entrance exams, and many others, including my sister, who's passed her entrance BDS as well as MDS through government exams. But what I'm trying to say is the hard work everybody puts in. And whereas this hard work goes into water, we'll say there should be a case here, there'll be a re-examination, but why can't we just put these people behind bars who's done it, put a CBI, get them, punish them, stringent punishment, nobody will ever do.
Nigam, I think that's a fair point. No one's getting punished for these paper leaks. Ultimately, there's this whole nexus of touts and agents and, some of the students involved, teachers, etc. But no one ever gets punished for these multiple paper leaks. And we've had, just in the last year or so, multiple paper leaks, whether it is for government service exams or, other competitive exams. What's the accountability? Who's being held to account for all of this?
Well, Zaka, in fact, we do have a judicial system where there are huge amount of delays. Even if the case goes to the court, The delays are enormous, and we have seen that happening. Whether those are ED cases or whether they are PMLA cases, take any case. And recently the government has passed a law which I told you about just now, and which is very new, which is very Shamaji, एक minute, which is very new, and probably
what's the point?
no, this is just a new Shamaji, this is a new law.
Punished.
Shamaji,
but we don't use these laws. They've funded the
One second, Dr. Let him speak. Please allow him to speak. Thank you.
Shamaji, we are not on tutu meme. This is a common problem. We all are on the same page here. It's not that we are talking different language. We have a problem. We have an issue. We need to find a solution. Now, this is a central law applicable to central agencies conducting the exam. Now, this law needs to be adopted by the state also, or they may pass their own laws, because stringent laws have to come.
NTA is a central agency, Mr. Nigam.
Yes. Therefore, this law, the central government law, is only applicable to the central agencies conducting. Therefore, I am talking on the larger problem. It's not about just NEET. There is a problem, and Supreme Court is looking into it. If they order investigation, fine, good enough. But however, it is taking place in various states also. It is not just this particular exam. Okay. The malai is larger, and the disease has to be cured, not just prevention, but the cure also.
It's not just about the symptom, but you have to go to the root cause. We'll leave it at that. We'll see. Like I said, I really feel for the students who they feel that they've been shortchanged. Yes, these 1,500 odd have to now take a retest, but is that necessarily solving the problem of these paper leaks and, students feeling like this is an unfair playing field? Well, it quite doesn't, but we'll see how it plays out. Thank you very much to all our guests. I want to move on to our second topic, and this incidentally concerns the Congress party. In his first visit to Kerala since the Lok Sabha election results were declared, Rahul Gandhi has said that he's been facing a dilemma in having to choose between the two constituencies that he's won from, Wayanad in North Kerala and Raebareli in Eastern Uttar Pradesh, both of which he won with a margin of over 3.5 lakh votes. The Congress top sources have told CNN News 18 that Rahul Gandhi will likely give up Wayanad, and Priyanka Gandhi, his sister, could fight the bypolls in Wayanad. Kerala Congress President K. Sudhakaran has also hinted that Mr. Rahul Gandhi will be leaving the Wayanad constituency. Sudhakaran has said that Rahul Gandhi has to lead the nation and therefore he cannot be staying in the south. Meanwhile, amidst all this buzz, posters have already come up in Wayanad demanding that Priyanka Gandhi be made the contender or the candidate for that seat once her brother gives it up. The question remains, how will this gamble pay off, given that there are state elections due both in Kerala and in Uttar Pradesh, in Kerala in 26 and in Uttar Pradesh in 27. Will this be a boost or a bane for the Congress in these state polls?
I have a dilemma in front of me. The question is, will I be Member of Parliament of Wayanad or will I be Member of Parliament of Raebareli?
നമ്മൾ ദുഃഖിച്ചിട്ട് കാര്യമില്ല, നമ്മൾ മനസ്സിൽ പ്രയാസപ്പെട്ടിട്ട് കാര്യമില്ല. ഇന്ത്യയെ നയിക്കേണ്ടുന്ന രാഹുൽ ഗാന്ധിക്ക് വയനാട്ടിൽ വന്ന് നിൽക്കാൻ സാധിക്കില്ല.
If he's retaining Raebareli and Priyanka ji will be contesting from Wayanad.
Okay, will these gambles pay off if Rahul Gandhi gives up Wayanad and retains Raebareli? And the buzz is, and certainly posters have come up in Wayanad, that Priyanka Gandhi should fight the bypolls in Wayanad. Will this gamble pay off? Shazia Ilmi is national spokesperson of the BJP. Nakul Patel is a leader of the Congress party. Nakul Patel, this is exactly what Rahul Gandhi's opponent in Wayanad, Miss Annie Raja, was saying all along. Why is he contesting from this seat? If he's going to contest from a seat in Uttar Pradesh, at that time it was not known whether he would contest from Amethi or Raebareli, but eventually he did contest from Raebareli. Then why is he contesting from Wayanad? Ultimately, he's shortchanging the people of Wayanad.
See, as per Representative of People's Act 1951, any candidate can contest from two constituencies, and that is the base where I think Wayanad and Raebareli were chosen by Rahul Gandhi ji. Now he is winning both the seats, and as per the constitution, he has to actually leave one seat, and definitely I think he might have decided that he will be leaving Wayanad, I think. So that's nothing wrong in it. But as you said, Why? The question is why, then definitely I would like to quote an example that in past so many leaders have contested from 2 seats. Especially I would like to quote the Honorable Prime Minister in 2014 contested from Vadodara as well as Varanasi. And I belong to Vadodara and I still know the things, and I'm standing at the same location nearby from where the Pradhan Mantri had given his first speech. Now it's a matter where Congress High Command or CWC or the people at the central level thinks of what Rahul Gandhi must do. Rahul Gandhi is a strong leader of Congress, and due to his activity, we have get the good results into the entire
Shazia,
country.
so everybody has done this. It is perfectly legitimate as per law. Even Mr. Modi in his first election contested from Varanasi as well as from Vadodara. He gave up Vadodara. So why are you picking fault with Rahul Gandhi?
No, we are not picking fault at all whatsoever. I think it's people of Wayanad who would feel used and shortchanged, because when it suited Rahul Gandhi and when he was defeated from Amethi, something that other people that he quoted who had contested from one constituency, we saw how Rahul Gandhi behaved when he was defeated from Amethi. He actually lapped up Wayanad and all the people there, and he said, oh, people of Kerala are far superior in the way they look at things, in the way they understand things. And now that he's won Raebareli, he wants to ditch Wayanad. So I think it's people of Wayanad who will feel completely shortchanged, betrayed and used and thrown and discarded by Rahul Gandhi. And that him choosing UP over Kerala also says something about Rahul Gandhi, who created this big schism between North and South. And not just that, by saying that, oh, the Prime Minister should come, the way to Prime Ministership is through UP, a statement he just made, just goes on to show that he is also undermining Kerala and Keralites. And not just that,
that's up to the people of Wayanad to decide. So your basic contention is that, you know, he's free to choose whichever seat he wants to choose. The only problem is Wayanad stood with him when he lost from Amethi. Now he's ditching Wayanad. That's your contention. Had he won from Amethi and from Wayanad, that wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah, but it clearly shows that Rahul Gandhi just used Wayanad when he was dumped from elsewhere from UP, and that was his B plan. And now that he has another plan and he's actually won from Raebareli, he discussed this. They were always a substitute. They were never the real thing.
Okay.
So Wayanad,
so Mr. Patel, please respond. Wayanad was always a plan B. Plan A was to fight from UP. In 2019, he lost from Amethi. In 2024, it is won from Raebareli. So when plan A has worked in 2024, he wants to give up on plan B. So that, as Shazia Almi says, is dhoka for the voters of Wayanad, because they stood with him in his hour of need, in his hour when he lost the traditional seat of Amethi.
The Bharatiya Janata Party wants to set the narrative into the country, but people of Wayanad had responded to the verdict in 2024, and they have elected Rahul Gandhi by the margin of 3 lakhs, which is almost double than the Prime Minister Varanasi lead. Secondly, if you are talking of Amethi, you see that how Amethi people had responded to the Smriti Irani and our contestant from the Amethi won against her. Regarding Raebareli people have given again a good response to Rahul Gandhi, and they have elected, and that verdict must be accepted by the Bharatiya Janata Party, and they must not criticize. They must look into their own pocket, what they want to do, and people will decide their own fate. As now responsibility given by the people of the country to the Congress as well as our big leader Rahul Gandhi, definitely Bharatiya Janata Party will face the heat on the floor of the parliament.
Shazia, you say, Congress and Rahul Gandhi ditched Amethi and ran away from there, and then he treated Amethi like a stepchild. But Amethi Vasis have now voted for humble Mr. Kiroli Lal Sharma to be their representative. Correct. So it's very much within the Congress party only. Everybody knows he's a proxy for the Gandhis there.
So correct. And there's no getting away from the fact that we lost Amethi. But the fact of the matter was that Rahul Gandhi first lost Amethi, and then he thank God, he had something to fall back on, which was Wayanad. And now when he's won from Raebareli, a constituency he chose after a lot of consideration, he is dumping Wayanad to be here in Raebareli because he knows that this is a hotter political place to be.
No, but as far as Amethi is concerned, he can always make the contention that Mr. Sharma ji is his representative. Whatever you want, whatever Amethi Vasis want, please, tell Mr. Sharma ji because he is my man. He has my ear.
But for people of Wayanad, Rahul Gandhi was the person. And he spoke about Kerala in glowing terms. Now we all know that was all nonsense. That was only desperation. And now that he has a choice, he will dump Wayanad. And he already has. This is just a smarter way of saying, oh, I'm confused, I'm in a dilemma. We all know that he's going to dump Wayanad.
We'll see. We'll see how that plays out as far as both the voters of Wayanad and Raebareli are concerned. For the moment, thank you very much, Nakul Patel, as well as Shazia Elmi, for joining us. Like I said, ultimately, it's up to the leaders to decide if they have contested and won from 2 seats. They have to give up one. Akhilesh Yadav, for example, was an MLA from the Karhal seat. And now, of course, he's been elected as an MP from the Kannauj seat. So he's given up Karhal instead of Kannauj. So let's see how it plays out for Rahul Gandhi. Up next, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has left for Italy. He's going to be there for the G7 summit, which will be held from tomorrow and the 15th of June. This is the Prime Minister's first trip abroad after being elected for a 3rd term. First Post's managing editor Palki Sharma gets us this ground report from the picturesque place where this G7 summit is happening in Italy.
Long and winding, short and curvy, thick and hollow. It doesn't matter for the Italians. If it's pasta, it must be eaten. Very few food items have this sort of power over a country. But as they say, power comes at a cost.
Around this time last year, the Italian government had an emergency meeting. A central minister called some officials and industry experts, not to discuss a national security threat or a health emergency. It was a pasta crisis. Pasta prices in Italy were up by 20%, while overall inflation had risen only by 8%. So obviously, the Italians wanted answers, and that is why the government called an emergency meeting. It's been 1 year since that meeting, but has the situation improved since? We'll find out today.
Bari is the perfect place to test this out. One of the key landmarks here is the Norman Castle. Around 100 meters away, you see this narrow passageway. These women run the show here, the nonnas or grandmothers of Bari. Their work is equal parts inspiring and mechanical. Stretch, cut, roll and repeat. It's a routine they have perfected over many years. And the end product looks like this. It's called orecchiette pasta, which means little ears. If you look at the shape, it's clear why. They come in different colors but the same shape. But what do the nonnas have to say about pasta prices? Has it affected their sales too?
Not only pasta and wheat, the prices of other food items like fruits, vegetables, and milk had also gone up.
Not surprising. Pasta is an emotion in Italy. Every year, this country makes 4 million tons of pasta. 60% of Italians eat it every day. The average Italian eats 23 kilograms of pasta every year, and these are mind-boggling numbers.
But it's not just pasta in Italy. The situation is similar across Europe. In 2022, food inflation touched 8.5% in Europe. Food and fuel became more expensive. Do you know what else happened in 2022? Russia invaded Ukraine. And Europe's response to this invasion was to isolate and punish Russia. But in the process, they ended up punishing their own people. Take the pasta example. Pasta is made of wheat. Do you know who produces and exports this wheat? Russia and Ukraine. So the sanctions ended up making pasta more expensive for Europeans.
Italy did make amends though. First, they created a monitoring agency to regulate the price, to make sure sellers are not hoarding. Then they expanded supply chains. Russia and Ukraine were the source of Italy's problem. but they turned it into a solution. After the war, Italy bought more agro products from Ukraine and Russia, around 150% more from Ukraine and 9% more from Russia. Slowly, these moves are working. Italy's inflation slowed down to 1.3% in March 2024. Compare that to the EU average, which is more than 2.5%. So Italy's strategy worked. In 2022, their inflation was at a 4-decade high, but since then, it has fallen 10 percentage points. And it comes at the perfect time.
Germany and France have been the two top economies of the EU. They were considered Europe's growth engines. But now Italy has a chance to break this duopoly. Inflation is already under control here. Its GDP is growing faster than Germany and France. And chances are that going forward, Germany and France will be caught up in domestic squabbles. So this is Italy's opportunity to steal their thunder. It's all about consistency. Maybe their love for pasta is not their weakness after all. Maybe it will strengthen their resolve to fight inflation.
Writing our destiny as a nation, ladies and gentlemen. The early trends will trickle in shortly.
First round of EVM counting is done. I've got that official information.
So out of the 4 seats in Himachal, 3 seats, BJP is leading.
Whether for the BJP and the NDA, the numbers are going up or not, but for us, they are going up.
Mr. Naidu, Mr. Nitish, certainly they're going to demand their pound of flesh, but they're going to play a bigger role.
Uttar Pradesh is the state where I think we should focus.
Yes.
That could be the difference between what kind of government we're going to get.
The trends are pretty much clear.
It was the Prime Minister who first said, "Aayega to Modi hi."
I just want to thank everyone who's really put in the hard yards, blood, sweat, everything that you've given to this channel and to our election coverage. There is a day and night gap between us and the nearest competitor. So thank you very much.
lakh rupees ex-Russia for all the debt in the incidents from Prime Minister Relief Fund. The Kuwaiti government has also swung into action. They have arrested the owner of the building and few more people who were managing the building. And the entire episode of this fire tragedy is being probed. It is being believed that many gas cylinders were stored in the ground floor from where the fire actually started, and very soon it engulfed the entire building, which was multi-floored. The incident happened early hours of morning, so many of the workers were asleep and they could not save themselves. The local authorities quickly responded to the fire reported by some of the locals, and then they doused the fire, but it took several hours, and by then dozens of people were already dead. Officials are also probing other buildings or other premises which are housing laborers in such poor conditions, and they are also trying to audit buildings across the country and working conditions of laborers also, including from India. The poor working conditions of laborers in Gulf countries have been an issue in the past also, and Indian government has tried to raise the issue at multiple times at multiple levels with the respective government also. The Indian government also provides an insurance scheme, and that is Pravasi Bharati Bima Yojana, and that kinds of help all those blue collar workers who go to these countries for job or some employment opportunities. The PBY offers a range of benefits such as medical coverages of up to 1 lakh rupees for injured, sickness, ailments or disease with a cap of about 50,000 rupees per hospitalization. It also provides a generous insurance cover of about 10 lakh rupees in case of accidental death or premature disability, and also it covers the reimbursement of return economy class airfare for one attendant in the case of an ailment or accident, death or permanent disability. Also, PBBY also offers family hospitalization in India for up to 50,000 rupees for spouses and the first 2 children up to 21 years of age, and then there are other medical benefits also. So while Indian government has been doing its own part to provide some medical assistance and relief to these workers going abroad, because they are also one of the largest center of remittances to various states and families that not only support their own families but also contribute significantly in the overall GDP of our country. So while billions of dollars come every year from this diaspora community to their families, Indian government has always found responsibility to take care of their working condition and the way they are treated abroad. These workers who are now dead, they were apparently working in some oil field and near.
Writing our destiny as a nation, ladies and gentlemen. The early trends will trickle in shortly.
First round of EVM counting is done. I've got that official information.
So out of the 4 seats in Himachal, 3 seats BJP is leading.
Whether for the BJP and the NDA the numbers are going up or not, but for us they are going up.
Mr. Naidu, Mr. Nitish, certainly they're going to demand their pound of flesh, but they're going to play a bigger role.
Uttar Pradesh is the state where I think we should focus.
Yes.
That could be the difference between what kind of government we're going to get.
The trends are pretty much clear.
It was the Prime Minister who first said, "Aayega to Modi hi."
I just want to thank everyone who's really put in the hard yards, blood, sweat, everything that you've given to this channel and to our election coverage. There is a day and night gap between us and the nearest competitor. So thank you very much.
Presented by in Kuwait, and the reason why this fire tragedy happened is still being probed. The number of deaths can go up. It is still now about 42 people. Establishment of identity of many of the deceased are still trying to ascertain, because many of them are charred beyond recognition. DNA sampling is being done, and once it is established, many of them will be handed over to their respective family, and Air India plane is on standby to bring back all those mortal remains. MOS Kirtivartan Singh is on way to Kuwait, where he will be overseeing the entire operation. A massive fire tragedy in Kuwait has killed more than 40 Indian workers who were housed in a multi-story building. About 160 workers were living there. Almost 40 or more than 40 have been reported dead. More than 30 are attending medical services, and several of them are in critical condition. So unfortunately, the number of deaths could go up from here. Indian government has swung into action. Indian embassy in Kuwait has been providing all the medical aid and assistances to all those critically injured. Prime Minister Modi has reviewed the entire situation. Yesterday, the meeting was held at PMO, where External Affairs Minister Jai Shankar, Foreign Secretary Vinay Quatra, and also the Minister of State for External Affairs Kirtivartan Singh was also present. Now MOS Kirtivartan Singh has also flown to Kuwait, where he will not only oversee the entire operation but also assess the situation on the ground, working conditions of the laborers, and what can be done to ensure those who are critically injured they get best medical services. Now also the situation back in home is very painful. We have reported that more than 11 people from the deceased are from Kerala, and then some are also from Tamil Nadu and other northern states. The identity of many of the deceased are yet to be established, because many bodies are charred beyond recognition. So the DNA tests are being done, and in few hours or maybe in a couple of days, when the establishment of the identity will happen, the bodies will be handed over to the respective family members. Indian Air Force plane is on a standby to bring that mortal remains of all the deceased back home once the identification is established. Prime Minister has announced a 2 lakh rupees ex gratia for all the dead in the incidents from Prime Minister Relief Fund. The Kuwaiti government has also swung into action. They have arrested the owner of the building and few more people who were managing the building. And the entire episode of this fire tragedy is being probed. It is being believed that many gas cylinders were stored in the ground floor, from where the fire actually started, and very soon it engulfed the entire building, which was multi-floored. The incident happened early hours of morning, so many of the workers were asleep and they could not save themselves. The local authorities quickly responded to the fire reported by some of the people.
welcome to this special edition of Vantage from Bari. Soldiers on the streets, helicopters buzzing above us, frenzy at the media center. All of this means just one thing. The G7 summit is officially underway. World leaders are here, and for the next 2 days, they will discuss everything from Ukraine to Gaza to China and even artificial intelligence. We'll tell you what's on the agenda, including what the world leaders will eat. Meanwhile, here in Bari, residents are divided over the war in Ukraine. Because of